Shanti, how are you? In this video, we are going to see how love karma fits in this 5000 years time cycle given directly by God through Brahma Kumaris. Because actually, I want to thank a sister who asked me this question. So, this video arises out of her question, so I thank her. So as I always repeat in all my previous videos, that whatever happened in one kalpa, which is this 5000 years, that keeps repeating kalpa after kalpa accurately. To understand it clearly, if you are watching this video now, it obviously means you watch this same video right at this time 5000 years back. You will also be watching this same video right at this time after 5000 years. So this is how accurate this 5000 year drama is. So now the question is, if everything is predetermined, then does my action doesn't have any significance? Then why should I be good? So that's the question that arises to anybody when they start learning about this secret directly from God. Actually, that is called karma, right? Every action has its reward or punishment based on the quality of action. If your action is going to be good, the result will also be good. If your act is bad, you will also have to face its consequences, which is going to be some kind of punishment. So how does this law of karma fit in this cycle? God says the first half of kalpa, the earth will be heaven, ruled by angels or deities. A small part of India was heaven. This heaven was described in all religions. But what is not revealed in religions is the actual location of heaven. So we tend to imagine that it should be somewhere outside this universe. No, that's not the case. The same earth was heaven for the first 2500 years, and for the last 2500 years, the same earth which was once heaven is being converted to hell. And this is a cycle, just like day and night cycle. Just as day follows night and night follows days, heaven is followed by hell, hell is followed again by heaven. So heaven is actually the new world, brand new world created by God. And when this world becomes old, it is called hell. That's it. So when it was new, it was filled with golden palaces, filled with angels with divine qualities. And when this turns into hell, it is filled with people with devilish characters, as we all say now in day-to-day news. So it's not hard to understand how something new becomes old gradually. But what surprises everybody is how this old world again becomes new, because this also has to happen. Only then it will be called the cycle, right? So that is when God interferes. So it is in the last 100 years of this old world, God comes. He enters an old man's body and names him Brahma and start giving this teaching. And those who are accepting that he is Brahma and God in fact is teaching through him, they are called Brahma Kumaris, which means Brahma Kumar and Brahma Kumaris, which means sons and daughters of Brahma. And it is this very Brahma who was represented as Adam in Bible and Quran. So this actually happens in the last 100 years of this world, which is called Kali Yuga. So the main teaching God gives is whatever happened. You were actually the angels, and you, after taking several births, have become what you are now. And within 20 years, you have to become angel again, because the angels had enormous power similar to God. Their thought has so much power that whatever they think, they happen right away. So to regain that power, we have to understand how we lost that power first. So God says, after completing the first 2500 years, you slowly start to forget that you are an indestructible soul, life energy that shines like a star in between your eyebrows, which is why Hindus till date has this habit of wearing tilak in between their eyebrows, because that is where we actually lies. That is who we actually are, and we are not this perishable body. This body is just like the clothes that we wear. Just as we wear clothes over this body, the body is also a cloth that we wear over the soul. So this conscious that we are in fact souls is what made the humans who lived in the new world as angels, because they were conscious of this fact, which is why they had this enormous power. When they start forgetting this after the completion of first 2500 years, the devilish qualities start to emerge out of them, which is why lust, anger, attachment, jealousy, and ego comes into practice. All these 5 vices are present both in men and women, so they are combinedly formed Ravan. So this Ravan is called as Saturn. So Saturn is not a different entity, it is this devilish qualities. The reason he entered is mainly because we start thinking of ourselves as this perishable body. That's the main reason Saturn came into being. So last 2500 years is under Saturn's rule, which is why we are suffering, as we see right away. But here there was no Saturn. That's probably because they were conscious that they are souls. So only after losing soul consciousness they fell into the trap of Saturn. So to escape the trap of Saturn, all we need to do is to again consider ourselves as the souls. We have to constantly remind ourselves that we are not this perishable body, but we are the souls. After that, what we need to do is to remember God. But nobody knows how God looks like, because as of now all the texts and knowledge that we have till date were created by humans. Since no humans ever know how God looks like and knows what the real duty of God, so obviously there's no chance of humans to know about God unless God himself comes. So God has come now and is giving this divine knowledge through Brahma Kumaris. So now God reveals who he is to us and how he looks like. God says even before taking birth on earth, we souls without body was residing in a place called Parandam, soul world, and this is that place. So these are the souls that shines like a star residing in the soul world, and God is also a soul, and he also shines like a tiny star, and he is shown at the top here. And this one God is called Shiv by Hindus, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Godfather by Christians, Allah by Muslims. So God is one. Now we know how God looks like, and God says that he is the father of all souls, which is why he is called Supreme Father by Christians. So the only difference between God and us is we take birth, so we enter this birth and death cycle, but God stays away from this cycle. So this is also referred in Bhagavat Gita. But he is the only one who has this knowledge. No man has this knowledge. So the only way to get this knowledge is that God himself should come and reveal this to us. So that happens in the last 100 years, and he enters this man's body. He doesn't take birth like us in a mother's womb. So now we know how to remember God, because we know God is also a point of light, right? So before remembering God, we have to consider ourselves as the soul that is entirely different from this body. So we have to visualize ourselves like a star. Then we have to connect our mind to our Father, who also shines like a star in this orange colored light world. To put it simply, we can visualize God as a star in the red sky. That's it. So this is the core of God's teachings. And now let's see how law of karma fits into this cycle. Because while we were angels, we wouldn't do any vices. We were free of vices. So obviously we wouldn't suffer. We were completely free of sins. So angels are sin free right from their birth. But only after the completion of the first 2500 years we start falling into the trap of Saturn, right? So under the influence of this and the Saturn, we start committing sins. So the first sinful act is lust. So that was already given clearly in Bible and all religions. So that's basically because we start getting this body consciousness instead of soul conscious. So the moment you fall into lust, you start developing the mindset of acquiring the properties of others, be it beautiful girls or land or palaces or kingdom, things like that. So that is how the struggle started. Humans start to experience those struggles due to this lust, anger arise, attachment arise, jealousy arise, ego arise. So all these five vices changes heaven into hell. So when they first commit a sinful act or sinful karma means action, so they will definitely be paid for that action, either in the same birth or in the next births. But the punishment for his previous birth will be experienced by the soul when it enters the womb of a mother. So God will show some visions about his previous births, about the sinful acts he committed in his previous birth, and the soul will be experiencing the punishment as well inside the mother's womb, which is why mothers experience pain by the movement of the legs of the womb. That's basically because it was suffering inside your womb because of the sinful acts that it committed in its previous birth. So a major portion of the sinful acts, the consequences of that was experienced by the soul inside the womb itself, and the remaining punishments will be experienced by the soul after delivery, after it comes out of the mother's body. So if it has committed grave crime like killing people, then there's a pretty good chance that it would be it would have taken a handicapped body. So that's because of the karma he committed in his previous birth. Sometimes you happen to see it right in the same birth, right? Because the child would have born normal, healthy, and slowly it start falling for uh, criminal acts, because of which during the middle age he might have had to face some kind of punishment, by which he had to lose his arms or legs. So that is also due to the karma. Nobody can escape karma. So actually, when they start entering this place after the completion of first 2500 years, they wouldn't be committing sins as we commit right now. So that will be very less. So they wouldn't suffer much as well. Their suffering will also be very less. Because as you know, in Bible, Bible is very significant because of the pain suffered by Christ. So it obviously means he's the only one who suffered that much. But now if you take a closer look, everybody suffers more than Christ because of the sins we have accumulated during our previous births. So we are experiencing immense pain now. That's probably because we have sins accumulated in our souls. So there are two choices. One, we have to face the consequences. We have to be punished for our past sins. That's the first choice. Second choice, we can wash away our sins by connecting our mind with God. Actually, that's the only way to burn our sins. There is no other way. All other ways taught by religious preachers, they wouldn't work. It's quite obvious, because if it had worked, the world wouldn't become this worse, right? So the only way to wash away our sins is to consider ourselves as the soul and connecting our mind to God. What happens while we are doing this is, actually we have to know what sin is, what sin we carry from our previous birth. The sin is basically accumulated as behaviors, not only sins, even the good deeds that will also be carried from birth to birth. So they'll be accumulated as behaviors. Behaviors get transferred birth after birth. So for instance, if you don't like somebody in one birth, for example, it could be your wife. You hate your wife for some reason. So in the next birth, you will be taking a new body, she will also be taking a new body. But you will be taking only human body, there's no doubt about it. We human souls would never take animal body or plant body. We will always be humans. So, but a soul which has taken man's body in his previous birth might be taking a woman's body in his next birth. So that can change. So if a man hates his wife in one birth, In the next birth, the wife may be born as a child to him in the next birth, or 2 or 3 births after that. So now he couldn't recognize that, even the child couldn't recognize him, but something this soul did as a wife has irritated him, which is why he started hating his wife. The same behavior, when this child start to express, this guy is again going to get irritated, though the birth is different now, because that soul, the wife's soul, has this behavior transferred from her previous births. Similarly, his behavior or character was also transferred. What's his character? He doesn't like that particular attitude when this soul enacted as his wife. So when he starts saying the same act committed by this same soul in her later birth, that's again going to irritate him. But now it's going to irritate him multiple times than it did the first time in the first birth, because the soul is gradually losing its power. What is that power? Power of silence, power of facing, power to withdraw. There are certain divine powers, so it gradually loses. So that is the reason people tend to get angry nowadays, even when they are as children. That's probably because their souls have lost all its power after taking several births. Now what happens when we connect our mind to God? This is actually called Rajayoga. Rajayoga basically means considering yourselves as a soul and connecting your mind to God, who is also a soul. So by indulging ourselves in Rajayoga forever, what happens is our souls start getting the strength that it once had as the angel. So the more time we dedicate to connect our mind with God, more is the power the souls accumulate, the more strengthier it becomes. So as but we don't escape the law of karma. Instead, we win over the law of karma, which means that particular person who irritated us in the past, he will again express that character, but you no longer take it serious, because your soul is no longer powerless. It has the power to see it as a drama. Moreover, we know about this world drama, because everything that has happened in one kalpa has to repeat now. So that's a drama. So after knowing that it is the drama that can never be changed even by God, it is intelligent just to see it as a drama instead of trying to change it, which is going to be impossible, right? So this divine knowledge plus yoga makes us to face all the effects of karma without reacting to it. So that's how our karmic accounts settle. The people who made you angry once, now if they want to make you angry again, they will produce the same kind of action and environment to make you angry, but you will not be angry because you have got the power of silence. Only when your silence power decreases, it expresses itself as angry. So when your soul is filled with power, you will not react to any kind of change in the environment because you have full control over your emotions. That is achieved through this Rajayoga. So now what happens is, God says no matter what others do, just stay still and show nothing but love to everybody, because you know this cycle and you know this law of karma. You committed sins in your past life, which is why you are reaping its effort, right? You are reaping what you had sowed in the past. Now if you want to enjoy peaceful and blissful life in your next birth, now you have to do nothing but good to others. So far we didn't know what is good and bad. So far we have been thinking, we have been brainwashed by our religions that lust is not a sinful act, which is why we indulged in lust. As a consequence, we start developing all the vices. As a result, the world has become hell, just as we see now. So to convert the hell back to heaven, we now strictly follow what God asks us to do. We no longer listen to human beings because humans are incapable of showing us the right path. So God Himself has arrived. We do not need any human ways or human created texts or literatures or anything now, because we have God Himself. So we get the divine knowledge directly from Him and we know what is good. So now God says, if you see others as human bodies, obviously you will develop lust. Now God says, don't see them as the body, see them as the soul. Don't see them through these eyes, see them through this third eye, which is the soul, because mind, intellect is present in the soul and not in any part of the body, which is why ghosts, even after leaving this body, can recognize its friends, relatives, enemies, everything, as we all know. Because even after burning this body, if it can recognize, it obviously means the mind is within the soul. Okay, so this is how law of karma fits this cycle, because we don't escape the law of karma. We, after knowing the law of karma, after knowing what is good karma and what is bad karma, we start conquering the bad karma through doing good karma, which is taught directly by God only in the last 100 years. Till then we were completely unaware of it, so it's not our fault. But now we are lucky that we are getting the direct teachings of God directly from Him. So please don't waste any of your time further. Please get back to Brahma Kumari Center as early as possible. You can locate the address of the centers near you by logging on to brahmakumaris.com if you are from India. If you are residing outside India, then log into brahmakumaris.org and locate the address yourself. And this knowledge is given absolutely free of cost to everybody, whether you are educated or uneducated, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are black or white, it doesn't matter. Everybody is equal before the eyes of God. So everybody has the right to claim the property of heaven given to his children directly by God. The only thing is you have to believe that God has come, and only what God teaches is truth, and everything else is far from truth, which is why we have been suffering for the past 2500 years. Now these suffering days are nearing its end, and our blissful days are nearing us. So we welcome you all back to heaven. So the door to heaven is Brahmakumari Center. So please go to the Brahmakumari Center as early as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and please spread this news to your brothers and sisters, friends, relatives, so everybody can become aware of this knowledge. If there is any suggestion for me to improve on how I present this video, I always welcome it. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to this channel, and thanks for sharing this video in advance. Thank you.